The following is a presentation of the iRacing Esports Network.
I want to leap over buildings, want to fly over the shores, faster than a lightning flash, rushing through the cool night air. So start ignition, count to zero. I just wanna be a superhero. So start ignition, count to zero. I just wanna be a superhero.
It's all unfastened in the championship battle early on in the 2018 campaign, and yet again today, tensions will boil, skirmishes will intensify, talent will be tested in one of the most popular new forms of esports and simulation racing as we welcome you to Phoenix International Raceway, also known as ISM Raceway, which hosts the 4th round of the iRacing Rallycross World Championship Series. All coverage today, of course, is on your beloved RaceSpot TV, streaming live on the iRacing Esports Network around the 1.23 kilometer, 0.764 mile clockwise layout of ISM. 9 tough and twisty corners to challenge the drivers. The lap here begins with a tight and winding first sector as the drivers meander their way through the tarmac. The rest of the lap, it's then dirt. Extremely difficult to find grip. Drivers struggling with rollovers in practice as well. Traction will be critical. Car setup will be important. A natural feel for the car grip will be ever important for rapid lap times here today. Good afternoon, everybody. Jonathan Simon on hand in the commentary booth alongside Randolph Cheneth, Cam Walsh on social media, and Hugo Luis in production. We're now in qualifying at the moment, with only a couple of minutes left in this session. And Randy, what a track we come to. The last time we were here for Dirt Night Racing a few months ago, it was ever close between the top 8 and the feature race.
Yeah, it definitely was. I mean, the feature races have been really good. Indianapolis Raceway Park saw that fun battle for the lead, if I remember correctly, with Johan Hart and Mitchell de Jong. And Sonoma was just a complete wild card race. So many different things happened. Mitchell having issues pretty much the entire evening. It's been an up and down season thus far for these guys. A lot of excitement. You expect nothing else from this quick, fast-paced action of motorsport that we get.
So championship standings on screen. De Jong still leading after an abysmal round at Sonoma, looking to bounce back just a week later. Joni Heikkinen's overall victory, though, in the feature race promotes him back up to 5th in the standings. He'll be lamenting missing out in the feature round for round 2 from Lucas Oil Raceway. The feature race is the race today that will pay the most points, the most on offer for these drivers today. Qualifying is almost over, Randy. We haven't had multiple pole sitters this season. Mitchell de Jong at the moment trying to make a statement for that, going for his 2nd pole of 2018.
Yep, the only driver who actually can potentially upset that is actually Josh Fox, I believe. I don't think there's anyone else on track who has a valid lap left, and Josh has yet to do a qualifying lap, and there's only 30 seconds left on the timer, so he's not going to be able to have time anyways. So Mitchell de Jong, multiple-time pole sitter, first one this season. I don't think that should be a surprise whatsoever, but I think Mitchell will be happy to rebound after what happened to him last week.
And Julian Shine on screen, Randy. He's a driver who switched from Race Clutch to Fusion Racing last round. This is his 2nd race with his new team. The thing with Julian Shine, though, is that he hasn't made a feature race all season, and that's why he's so far down the standings. What does the Belgian need to focus on to make the feature today?
Go faster and finish heat races. I think that's the best way to get yourself in towards that feature event. So maybe some sort of issues. Maybe that's why he left that group over there at Race Clutch. We got that first heat race gridding up right now.
So the Heat 1 grid will be Mitchell de Jong on pole position. He takes his 2nd pole of the season alongside Johan Hart, the ever-quick Race Clutch Frenchman. Then they will be followed by Connor Parisi, Garrett Lowe, Georgi Zadzon, who could have had a good round at Sonoma, but had a controversial incident with Bobby Zelensky. And then they'll be followed by Michael Guest and Josh Fox. The start of this race, for the first time this season, is parallel to the main straight. And they'll head to turn 1 for the first time. Still waiting for Mitchell de Jong to take to the grid. We'll have 5 laps of action for each of the 3 heats. 1 joker available to the drivers. The top 2 will advance straight to the feature round. The rest will have to take to the consolation race. There are your 7 on screen for Heat 1. Engines rev. Lights illuminate. We go green for round 4. Hart and de Jong, carbon copy between the both of them heading into the first couple of corners. Hart does the outside line, but de Jong with track position should be able to slot his way into P1. Better contact behind the 54 of Michael Guest on 2 wheels. Driver turned around, and that is Josh Fox, who's now all the way down in plumb last.
Yeah, that's pretty much going to be a hamper on his night as he's having trouble getting that car turned around. Fights out front, though, picking up. Got the 1 of Connor Parisi fighting with the 90 of Johan Hart. You also have Georgi Zadzan in this fight. So the top 4 all pretty much under a blanket. We have a couple drivers who also did not elect to take the Joker. That's Garrett Lowe and Michael Guest. Look for them if these guys start stacking up on each other and start costing each other some lap time. Maybe those two with the slightly late Joker strategy could make it work.
Yeah, and the Joker here as well, Randy. It's mostly tarmac. It's through the middle of the lap. Something the drivers will elect to actually gain some time based on the Joker Delta.
Yeah, I mean, that is all the with American-style rallycross. Oh, Johan Hart gets turned around off the nose of the 1 of Connor Parisi. So Johan gets shuffled back, and now he's equal with those drivers of Garrett Lowe and Michael Guest, who have yet to take the Joker lap, and that will surely put a hamper on Johan's ability to get directly through into the feature from this race, because those two still owe themselves a shortcut, and Johan's already taken it. So disaster there for the 90 car. He's likely going to have to go through the last chance qualifier unless something crazy happens out in front, and there goes one of those cars. Garrett Lowe takes to the Joker lap, as well as Michael Guest.
Yeah, so those two should be able to slot themselves ahead of Johan Hart, although Michael Guest crashed at the end of the Joker. Michael Guest has turned around. He's actually out of the event now. Oh, goodness, with engine troubles as well, I think, for Michael Guest. So Mitchell de Jong leads this heat so far, midway through it. There's a replay on board with Michael Guest. He'll be followed by Garrett Lowe at the moment in second. Georgi Zadzan in third. So at the moment, like we said, the top 2 will be advancing to the feature race, and it's Connor Parisi fourth, Johan Hart fifth, and Josh Fox in the 6th position. Michael Guest, though, we've seen that happen, Randy. The exit to that Joker is so difficult.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, it wasn't even the exit that got him, though. It was the entry sort of into the final part of it. He just flat out locked up a rear tire. Really rookie mistake to be making like that. Not the sort of mistake you want to see. But now you have 2 Fusion Racing Ford Fiestas that are sandwiching Georgi Zadzan, who runs in that 3rd spot. So you know that Connor Parisi is going to want to get that 3rd spot away just for the starting position in the feature. But at the same time, I think he's likely just going to play it safe, not to give a transfer spot to Johan as Mitchell gets ready for the final sequence of corners in this first heat.
Yeah, Mitchell is not even close to being troubled here for a Heat 1 victory. This is exactly what he needed. The grid position as well for the feature. Comes towards the final part of the lap here at ISM Raceway, and he will win Heat 1 and will advance to the feature race along with Garrett Lowe, who's had a brilliant heat round. Georgi Zadzan and Connor Parisi, though, they will have to take to the consolation rounds along with Johan Hart and Josh Fox. Michael Guest with a DNF from that round after we saw what happened to him in the Joker. Good first race, Randy, to warm ourselves up.
Yeah, it was a lot of excitement in that one, and a lot of drama as well, for sure. Going to be interesting to see how these drivers sort of adapt. They might look at that little bit of an issue that we saw from Michael Guest taking that Joker lap. Maybe some of these guys will tighten these cars up just a little bit to start this next heat. Maybe even do something with the brake bias, because really, to me, it just looked like he basically yoinked an inside wheel going into the entry of that left-hander.
Yeah, exactly. So Heat 2 now, they're going to take to the grid. It will be Joni Heikkinen and Julian Shine starting first and second. Thomas Gerstenberg in third, followed by Nathan Lyon, Bob King, and Pierre-Anton Delaire. It's going to be a 6-car field for Heat 2 and Heat 3. Julian Shine, this is a great chance for him, Randy, to make the feature race.
Very well could be, and you know, this is a sort of a short fielded heat right here, so only 2 of these drivers not transferring, and it's going to be an exciting one. You have Nathan Lyon, who wants to rebound after what happened at Sonoma. There's a lot up for grabs in this one. Maybe even Bob King, bit of a surprise from what we saw last week.
So engines rev, lights illuminate once again for Heat 2. Have a look at Shine on the outside line. What can he do as we go green for Heat number 2? Heikkinen, no. Brilliant start, and Nathan Lyon all over the rear end of the fin.
Oh, Bob King gets sent into the outside wall.
Bob King, though, and now I don't know if he's got damage, but that car doesn't look healthy at the moment. That Subaru WRX, rest of the field come through, and Joni Heikkinen, most importantly, takes to the Joker, clears his way of traffic. Behind him, Julian Shine joins him, so does Gerstenberg. Nathan Lyon, though.
Oh, Shine and Gerstenberg. Trouble, he got one car upside down, Johnny. That was Gerstenberg who just pushed Julian Shine end over end.
And we just spoke about Julian Shine's chances to make the feature, and he will not make it here from the heat rounds. He'll have to take to the consolation races because he is a DNF for heat number 2 as the rest of the field comes. So now the order is Heikkinen from Gerstenberg, Nathan Lyon in 3rd, hasn't taken the Joker, don't forget. He goes for it this lap round. Where is Nathan Lyon going to appear?
Yeah, and just honestly, just watching that incident, Johnny, when we saw that Vision Racing car of Julian Shine go end over end, I really have to put a lot of the blame on Gerstenberg there, because he just kept that throttle down and kept pushing into that Ford Fiesta until eventually just flipped over. So Shine made a little bit of mistake coming back onto the track, but I definitely don't think it was the sort of mistake that could warrant going end over end. And Joni Heikkinen continues running strong out in front.
So after the Joker, Nathan Lyon ends up in 2nd ahead of Thomas Gerstenberg. Gerstenberg will have to make the pass to the top 2 positions, to those transfer spots on track. So Gerstenberg, King, and Dallaire, 3rd, 4th, and 5th. The rest of the field, Julian Shine, as we said, out of the event.
So a bit of drama in these early couple of laps. Julian Shine is not going to be happy with that, as Joni Heikkinen is in the process of just dominating this second heat race here. I think as we expect, considering the poor performance he put in last week. Gerstenberg still in that 3rd spot after that incident, and Bob King, after getting flinged into the outside wall on the run into turn 1 and turn 2, Johnny. I mean, you talked about the fact that Subi did not look healthy whatsoever. He's in a transfer spot.
He is. So brilliant stuff for him. Lyon now in 2nd position. Nathan Lyon's had a good season as well in that Exodus Esports car, Randy. I mean, he finds himself 6th in the championship. Right now, this is not surprising that he's in the 2nd position.
It really isn't a surprise at all. Shouldn't be surprising to anyone whatsoever. Nathan, he doesn't typically have the fastest pace of a lot of these guys, but he seems to have a knack of finding his way through these fields and getting there at the end of these races. We've seen that in the Dirt Night broadcasts in the past. Nathan is always a force to be reckoned with. He's not the heaviest of hitters, but he can get it done when he needs to.
So final lap, and Joni Heikkinen will take victory. Across the line he goes, and he is in P number 1. We saw a spinner there. Thomas Gerstenberg on the final lap demotes himself to 5th, because Nathan Lyon will obviously progress to the feature race. Bob Kinkno in 3rd, and they'll be followed by Pierre Anton
transfer spot.
Does it really?
Gerstenberg was P3. Pierre just went from 5th to 4th in that final lap with Gerstenberg's mistake.
There we go. So that is your order, as in engine troubles as well for Thomas Gerstenberg on the final lap there. But Joni Heikkinen, brilliant victory, Randy, to set himself up for the races later today.
Yeah, it was great. You know, good bit of momentum there, and same with Nathan Lyon as these guys get ready for heat race number 3. Castillion, Bobby, and Cedric. This is a pretty crowded heat race.
Heat 3 grid will include Cheplevsky, Zelensky, Cedric Gesmier, Jorn Jens, Logan Clampett, Tony Repisard. Lights illuminate and will disappear for the final heat race of the day. Slow start from the back row from Tony Repisard, but the top 2 go into the first corner. Bobby Zelensky so aggressive, but will not claim the lead because Cheplevsky has the track advantage here. But Bobby Zelensky, with all the grit and determination, will go straight to the Joker and should file his way into the lead as long as he gets this section right.
I think he's going to have the lead straight up. He was ahead of Stillion on the run. In there, Jorn Jens makes a mistake, exiting the Joker, the second driver. We've seen do this, went a little bit too hot, clipped into that right side wall, and just basically flung that Subaru almost on its side. That would have nearly been the second car we've seen end up on its side on that part of the track. And now in all 3 heat races, Johnny, we've had a car get knocked out of this race in the opening couple laps, exiting the Joker.
They're very aggressive, aren't they? They want to gain as much time as possible. But so far, Zelensky leads, and he earned that lead for himself right there. Lots of aggression, lots of poise, lots of patience as well, heading into those first few corners. Logan Clampett, though, and Cedric Gesmier, 2nd and 3rd. Clampett, where's he going to feed out through the final section of the lap? He's in 3rd. Logan Clampett, Randy, this season has never progressed straight to the feature race from the heat races. He's always headed to those consolation rounds, something he's aiming not to do here today.
Logan's one of the more talented and younger drivers on the sim. I believe still in high school, if not recently graduated. And one of the things we see a lot of the younger drivers really struggle with is mentality and knowing when to put themselves in the right places. Logan, his aggressiveness, while it does pick him spots up sometimes costs him some situations as things going to get exciting out in front. As Stillian takes the Joker and he's going to cycle back out in front into this heat race. That'll shuffle Bobby back to P2, Cedric to P3, and Logan to P4. Those top four have a big margin over the rest of the field as Tony Repisard, actually no, he still owes us a Joker lap here, so that VEC driver, a potential dark horse here, but he is about 5 seconds back.
Yeah, he's got a lot of time to make up, and if he elects to take it this time around, let's have a look at Tony Repisard. The Joker will be on the right-hand side of the screen. There it is. Repisard, though, continues into the dirt section, flies over the jump, and gets it all over the place, of course. Chebolevsky, though, 2,000 IQ play, Randy, and takes the Joker and now reclaims the lead.
Yeah, it definitely was. I don't think that was all IQ, though. That was all pace because Stillian was able to have clean track and pretty much just pace Bobby over those last few laps, and he's going to go in towards these last few corners here with the race lead. Question is, Tony Repisard has to Joker this lap, so he's likely going to have to do it right. Well, he's going to have to do it right here, right now. Will he be able to get to Logan, though? I don't think so.
It'll be ever close, isn't it? Repisard now. He's not even close. There's Logan Clampett on screen there. You saw him. Repisard, too easy for him. He'll be in fifth. But Stelian Chebolevsky, wins the feature race ahead of Bobby Zelensky. Those two will advance straight to the feature round later today. Cedric Gesmier, though, and Logan Clampett will head to the consolation races, along with Tony Repisard and Jorn Jens, who finishes this heat in last place. So yet again, Randy, Logan Clampett does not make the feature round through those heat races.
So yeah, I mean, just on the outside looking in here once again for Logan, not what you'd want for sure, but you know, let's see what he can do. You still have these two last chance qualifiers, the parallel mains, top two from each one, get your way in. Maybe you can get your way through, but there's a lot of fast names in both of these, and I think the second one's a little bit more stacked. This first one we have coming up, still a lot of fast names.
Yeah, Georgi Zadzon included, along with Cedric Gesmier, who we just saw in that final heat race, along with Pierre-Antoine Dallaire, Josh Fox, Tony Repisard, and Julian Shine, who was on his roof during the feature rounds. Want more iRacing action? Subscribe to the iRacing Esports Network. It's on YouTube. Don't miss all the available racing series in the esports world. Ready to go for the first consolation race. Brilliant start from Georgi Zadzon across the line in that number 21. He's in that blue car there on the left-hand side of the screen, though. The battle for P2 is heating up right now. Josh Fox started fourth, heading to the lead here for the consolation races. So close, but he'll only end up second. They all take to the Joker, these drivers.
Four of them do. I think one opted not to. Who's actually that? He did the long lap. It's Tony Repisard, as well as there's another car out there, Pierre-Antoine Dallaire. The top few get their way out there, and this is one of those situations, Johnny, where I think these drivers may blink out on the Joker strategy just a little bit. Generally, it's advised to take the Joker early, but that's only to get yourself clean track and get yourself clean running order. If it's better off and more likely that you're going to get clean track if you just don't take to the Joker, then in that case, on the opening lap, it's better not to. So for these three that just took it, they're all stacked up on one another, while the drivers such as Julian Shine, Pierre-Antoine Dallaire, and Tony Repisard all have clean track to pretty much run hot laps, potentially reel these three in.
Yeah, so the top three, it's so close, split by half a second. You can see how close it is on screen at the moment. Julian Shine had issues that lap at turn one. I'm not sure what happened. He lost about 2-3 seconds, slowed down. It may have been a slowdown penalty, who knows. They all head through the final sectors. Julian Shine again, more troubles down the back end of the screen. Oh, sorry, that's Pierre-Antoine Dallaire in the Subaru WRX, I should say. Top two, top three, though, still close as they scream over the jump for lap 3 of 5 here. Cedric Gesmier needs a top two transfer spot to get to the feature round. He's trying to slice it up the inside of Josh Fox. No room there, and actually hits the brakes, you can see, Randy, just to avoid contact.
Oh, one driver not able to do so. I think that was Julian Shine off in the last sequence of corners. Saw that Ford Fiesta go flipping into the inside. No, that came out of the from contact with Pierre-Antoine Dallaire coming through that final corner. Pierre took a very wide line exiting the Joker, and he pretty much just lifted right onto the throttle and just they kind of just met into the same place. So kind of unfortunate timing there for Julian. I'm not sure there's much either of them could have done, and I don't think there's anything Julian could have done to really avoid that, as it all came from behind him.
Yeah, now Shine there could make his way past Pierre-Antoine Dallaire after a mistake by Dallaire at the jump. And he does exactly that. So that's down the back end of the order for 5th and 6th. This battle for the lead, though, is closer and closer. Final lap of the race could be the final lap of the round for Cedric Gesmier if he cannot make his way past Josh Fox or even Yorgi Zadzon for the lead. Here they head over the jump one more time. Few more corners to go. Oh, Gesmier has made a mockery of the final sector, and he will not advance through the feature race after that mistake. Hit the tire bundle, and that will mean Zadzon and Fox head straight to the final race here today. Gesmier, it's game over for him from ISM Raceway, along with Tony Reposad, Julian Shine, and Pierre-Antoine Dallaire. That's a mistake you'll see quite often, Randy, in Rallycross. Drivers just being overzealous with how much, how tight the line they can take into that dirt section.
Yeah, there's only so much you can do, though, for that driver who is running the third spot. He's trying to get a transfer spot on that last lap. You're always going to hang it out and get as much as you possibly can. Not really much to blame there, as we're pretty much already gridded for this second B main.
And this grid will include Bob King, who was on pole at Lucas Oil Raceway, don't forget. Connor Priest in second, Clampett, Gersterberg, Harth, Jens, and Michael Guest to round out the 7-car field. We go green for another 5 laps of action. Good start from Connor Parisi. Start of the race.
Oh, we got a car on the wall. Whoa! 2 or 3 cars in the wall. We got Michael Guest, I think, is around. Who else is involved? So Michael Guest involved early. It was one of the race clutch Fiestas, may have been Johan Hart, but 2 cars with big issues there on the opening lap.
So the rest of the field come through. Michael Guest is going to be out of this event. You can see the engine troubles for him. Smoke coming out of that Volkswagen Beetle. And that will be his day done for sure. Jorn Jens comes out of the Joker. He's in 6th at the moment. It looked like Michael Guest came off the worst from that incident. Connor Parisi, though, leads this race at the end of the first lap, followed by Bob King. Gerstenberg and Hart, though, battling for P3 and P4. Johan Hart ends up in the 3rd position.
Johan gets into that 3rd spot for now. They just checked the Jokers. Logan Clampett yet to use one. He uses his right now. I think he should jump at least these 2 race clutch cars, but can he get the Bob King exit of the Joker? Going to be very tight. Are we going to see a stack up like we saw late in the last chance qualifier? No, we're not. And Clampett's going to be just behind Johan Hart. They come down the front straightaway, maybe clipping that tire baller just a little bit, but everything's still clean here as these guys are going to duke it out for the last transfer spot as Connor Parise is out in front and clear ahead of these guys. And oh, a little bit of contact for Bob King.
Oh, and King, after that contact, spins around Logan Clampett. Clampett's into the wall with damage there. That Volkswagen Beetle, the Inex racing car, is not clean anymore. To the Joker is Jorn Jens. Where's he going to end up? Jorn Jens could find himself in the top 2 here. Not even close, though, in the exit is Johan Hart here. Will just have track position ahead. Jorn Jens needs a little bit of luck, and he may find himself in the feature race at ISM Raceway.
Yeah, he's definitely been on the short end of things. One of the 2 there's 3 Coanda drivers with licenses. He's the only one besides Mitchell that's been turning up. Jake Hewlett is yet to make an appearance as Jorn is right over the back of Johan Hart in that race clutch car, who we think might have a little bit of damage. So maybe Jorn, who has a world championship under his belt, might smell a little bit of blood in the water as they head through this final sequence of corners, but Jorn doesn't get that right at all. He just hemorrhages a huge amount of time to that 90 of Johan Hart as they're coming to the white flag. That was not the time for Mr. Jens to make a mistake, and he's just giving up more and more time. And now Johan goes from being under intense pressure to pretty much clear and can cruise from here.
Yeah, and there was a tire bullet kicked straight up into the air there on the final lap. But Johan Hart looks good to advance to the feature along with Connor Parisi. Of course, this is trouble for Logan Clampett. He is 3rd in the championship coming into this round. And at the moment, may not advance to that final feature race. Parisi through the final corner. He has had an uneventful consolation race here today. He will advance straight to the feature along with Hearth, as we said. Jens, unfortunately, his day will be done, but a good race nevertheless from Johan Jens in the 3rd position, followed by Thomas Gersterberg, who's also had a good day here for round 4 of the iRacing Rallycross World Championship. Clampett in 5th, followed by Bob King in 6th. Bob King, of course, along with Michael Guest, out of the event here for the consolation rounds. We have a 2-minute warm-up before the feature race. Time to take a break, Randy. Overall thoughts over the past 5 races to start today?
Been exciting. It's been what I expected from Phoenix. A lot of problems, a lot of sketchy moments in tight racing. This feature race is going to be insane.
And I like this track a lot, especially the dirt section. You just need that smooth point-to-point driving. And what I like here is that there are multiple lines, especially through this big section that Connor Parisi is coming through right now. There are multiple lines like we saw. Some drivers like to take a wide apex. Some drivers like to take 2 apex. Some drivers like to hug the inside line. It just depends on what works for you and your driving style.
And it is one of those things, Johnny, that you have to be aware of. We've seen a couple of incidents where drivers are sort of take that sort of alternate line, and they just sort of tend to put the foot to the floor, and if they hook someone's bumper in front of them, then so be it. It's one of those things where, yeah, you know, Rallycross definitely a contact sport, but at the same time, it's still, it's not just football. You can't just go out there and push people out of the way for positions and level them. So, I don't know. It should be exciting. We love to see the physical racing, though, for sure. We love to see the close racing, for sure. And the question is going to be, will Mitchell be able to get back to form and win a feature here? Or is he going to maybe falter and have some issues going in towards that first sequence? Because I think that's where everyone has the most opportunity. They can put the move on Mitchell early. They might be able to upset him. But if Mitchell's able to get out in front clean, start logging fast laps, I think he's pretty much unbeatable.
Yeah, exactly. And this feature race right now with De Jong and Heikkinen in 1st and 2nd, we'll look at the grid later, but they are arguably, even though they're not top 2 in the championship, Randy, they are arguably your top 2 quickest drivers in the iRacing Rallycross World Championship.
Yeah, I mean, there's no question for it. Those guys are, in terms of pace, are on another level. The question has to be, when it comes to consistency, when it comes to mindset, when it comes to ability to actually put yourself in good situations and get to the end of the race, that's the big question. Mitchell De Jong, of course, has a history of doing that. Joni Heikkinen typically done that, but maybe a little bit slightly less proven than Mitchell from what we've typically seen on Race Spot broadcast. But we got a feature race to get sorted. Let's see if they can do it.
De Jong and Heikkinen will start on the front row, of course. Chepelevsky will follow in 3rd, followed by Garrett Lowe, Nathan Lyon, the ever-quick Bobby Zelensky, Yorgi Zadzon, Josh Fox, Connor Parisi, and Johan Hart to round out your 10-car field. Johan Hart in that race clutch car. The Frenchman will have a big blob of Rallycross cars in front of him. The run down to the first corner. It's going to be tight through the right-hander. We've seen that line, the outside line where Joni Heikkinen's starting from, have a lot of grip, a lot of speed. Will he be able to lead past Mitchell De Jong and hopefully win his 2nd race in a row here? 10 laps of action, 1 joker available to the drivers. Ready to go green for the final time. We go green from ISM Raceway. Like we said, very quick start from Joni Heikkinen on the outside line. Mitchell De Jong, though, searching to reclaim the lead here, heading into the right-hander. Attack between the 2, but no one's turned around. Chepelevsky now heading straight for P2 on the racetrack. He doesn't take to the joker, but along with the joker, De Jong and Heikkinen both at the same time. Rest of the
we got
field
an issue on the joker. There's 2 cars around. Who is that? There's 1 car on one of the tire bollards. I think it was Georgi Zadzon. We still have a car stopped. There's Stilly and Chepelevsky. No, he had a separate incident. I think it was Nathan Lyon and Stilly and Chepelevsky's jump. Nathan had the issue in the joker.
Yeah, Chepelevsky made that mistake all on his own at the jump, though. The field at the moment, De Jong and Heikkinen lead 1 and 2. Replay on screen right now will be Hart 3rd, Garrett Lowe 4th, Josh Fox 5. So we're looking at the issue from Chepelevsky. Oh, he butchered that all on his own. just had no car
Phoenix
control.
Incident. Oh, Mitchell's around. He just made the same mistake at the landing of the jump. He went up and over, and he did the same thing. The car kicked to the right on the landing, and it stuck, and he got into the tire bollard. So Mitchell de Jong, who looked so perfect through the first 3 months of Rallycross being around, is starting to make mistakes. Joni Heikkinen has been gifted the race lead here as Johan Hart and Josh Fox, they're fighting for second place. Fox up the inside into turn 1. He's going to get it, but Johan comes right back on the inside on the cutback. Fantastic driving from Johan in the race clutch car, who started 10th in this feature race and finds himself running second 3 laps in.
Garrett Lowe, though, may spoil his party just for the moment here. Johan Hart, Garrett Lowe's going to be so close. Josh Fox also in the mix here for the top 3 positions on that podium. Almost contact between the two. Josh Fox, though, remains behind Garrett Lowe. But like you said, Randy, Johan Hart, what an event from him, the Frenchman.
It's been absolutely fantastic thus far. The problem is that business has just picked up because Josh Fox and Connor Parisi have checked into this battle after both taking the Joker. You also have Bobby Zielinski, you jokered, along with, of course, Mitchell de Jong, who's going to be coming through this fight. In this field, if Bobby Zielinski makes a mistake on the landing of the jump, that is like the traditional incident here at Phoenix, Johnny, is people making that mistake, just going up and over the jump. The car kicks to the right-hand side, and because you have to land and immediately get that car to the left-hand side, if there's any rightward yaw going up and over the jump like that, it's pretty much just stay done as it throws you into those tires.
Yeah, this battle is very close between Josh Fox, Garrett Lowe, and Connor Parisi for the final podium position. Pretty much all the drivers have taken the Joker here in this final feature race, at least in the top 5 at the moment, like we can see. Johan Hart used that to perfection on the first lap. Mitchell de Jong, though, made that mistake, Randy. Joni Heikkinen will have one fist in the air, pumping high at the moment. He's got another half the race to go to claim his second race win in succession. He is unscathed in P1. I think he's got one hand on the trophy at the moment.
Well, he better have 2 hands on the steering wheel, especially on the landing of the jump, because it has been tricky in catching everyone out. Let's see how he does it and gets it right here. That's picture perfect. That's exactly what you want. Nice straight. You don't need to necessarily jump the jump exactly straight, Johnny. A lot of times it's just more important, even if you go at it at a little bit of an angle, to make sure that you're not carrying any wheel input as you go up and over the jump, and especially not bringing any momentum through the rear end of that car, through the rear axle, because if there's any slip whatsoever on the rear tires, once you get in the air, there's no way for you to bring it back unless you got a rudder on that thing to maybe you know, another set of pedals. Be like flying a 747 through the air, though.
Yeah, so if the standings remain at the moment, de Jong will still lead the championship, but Johan Hart, who came into this event second in the championship, is making a strong case for the championship lead, although he hasn't won a feature race. There's only been 2 to de Jong and possibly 2 to Heikkinen if he gets this right over the remaining laps. Joni Heikkinen, of course, still got a long way to go until he can lead this campaign in 2018. Still close battles between Lowe, Parisi, Fox, Lowe and Parisi, excuse me, P3, 4, and 5. De Jong hasn't reeled in the 3 of them. De Jong has a shot here at the podium, Randy, if things go his way.
He definitely does, and he's definitely pushing here, trying to reel these guys in. I think he's been quite a bit quicker than the likes of Parisi and those drivers that he's following. So, likes of Garrett Lowe as well, and of course Josh Fox. So he's there. He's just gotten there. The question is, does he have time? They're coming to lap 9 right now, so only 2 to go for Mitchell to try to salvage any points that he can. Will that be enough? I think likely he'll only get to Connor, but will he be able to move his way further up and improve on just the top 5?
Still important points. Still critical for the championship later on. The feature race, as we said, hands out the most points. So regardless of where you finish, you're going to get a great strong haul of points here in these final 10 laps of racing action. Over the jump, they scream and land. Brilliant onboard sight for Mitchell de Jong, trying to push Parisi there. But just cannot make his way past the #1 Fusion racing car. Final lap, though, begins for Joni Heikkinen. He's been so thrilling, Randy. He's one of the world's best sim racers, and he's proving it here today.
He's doing his best to upset Mitchell de Jong, and he has been doing a phenomenal job of it the last handful of rounds. This is going to put a lot of momentum going his way, and I know Mitchell is not going to be happy with the way that he lost this one tonight as Joni worked his way into this final long right-hander.
And Mitchell de Jong made his way past Connor Parisi there on the final lap. He's up into the top 5. But for Joni Heikkinen, he will win round 4 of the iRacing Rallycross World Championship Series. 2 race wins in succession. Johan Hart will end up in 2nd. Josh Fox will round out the podium in P3. Then they'll be followed by Garrett Lowe and Mitchell de Jong. Joni Heikkinen, a brilliant victory from him. Johan Hart actually sort of creeps in on the championship lead from Mitchell de Jong there. De Jong not having the best couple of rounds here at Sonoma and ISM Raceway, of course. Johan Hart started that feature race in 10th, Randy. What a great start from him. But Josh Fox, haven't spoken about him much in that feature round. Started the race 8th as well. He made up a lot of positions.
And that is what I've been talking about. I've been saying this since Rallycross release. There's all this hype from people saying that you need to move forward as quick as you can. You need to move forward. You need to make big moves. Johan Hart and Josh Fox, they really didn't make big moves in this race. They didn't pass a lot of cars in one go. They just flat out didn't make mistakes. You think about these other drivers that we saw finish behind them. Garrett Lowe, Mitchell de Jong, Connor Parisi, Stilian Chipolewski, Bobby, Georgi Zadzon, Nathan Lyon, all arguably quicker. They all got into trouble over the course of this 10-lap event.
So results on screen for round 4 of the iRacing Rallycross World Championship Series. Brilliant victory from Joni Heikkinen. 2 feature race wins in succession here for this World Championship. He doesn't have the championship lead though. Johan Hart, who is 2nd in the championship, actually closes down on Mitchell de Jong's championship lead with that brilliant result. He started the feature race in that race clutch car from the 10th position. Josh Fox from Fusion Racing ends up in 3rd along with his teammate Garrett Lowe in 4th. Mitchell de Jong, after his mistake, will still gain a top 5 position after passing Connor Parisi on the final lap. Connor Parisi in that Fusion Racing car will end up in 6th after being passed by de Jong, followed by his teammate Stelian Chepelevsky. Bobby Zelensky and Georgi Zadzon round out your finishers, with Nathan Lyon, of course, after incidents early on in the event. The Nexus Esports driver ended up last with a DNF to his name. Interviews coming up, Randy, but I have to say the championship is a lot closer than I expected early on in this season. Very close.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, Mitchell de Jong has just been, no other way to say it, kind of underperforming. He's had the pace, he's just not had the consistency, and he's been prone to mistakes through these first handful of rounds. He looked picture perfect through the first couple, but the last couple outings we've had, anything but.
Joni Heikkinen, your victor for round 4 of the iRacing Rallycross World Championship Series, is available right now for his post-race interview. Joni, congratulations. What a brilliant victory again. You put the pressure on Mitchell towards the early stages of that event. I have to say, is this how you expected to start off the season? 2 race wins out of 4?
No, I expect 4.
You expect more, you said?
4.
Oh, 4. Oh, so I have to say, though, high expectations for yourself. Did you think the pressure made Mitchell make that mistake, or do you think he just hasn't been himself the past couple of rounds?
I don't know. It's not matter, maybe.
For you as well, a brilliant race again from ISM Raceway. Have you changed anything from the first couple of rounds where you've ended up better here? Or has it just been a little bit of extra luck for you to avoid any incidents?
I think just better luck. I think I practice more first and second race than these 2.
Yeah, and it showed as well in your results. Can I ask you last thing, any thank yous as well for your team? Anybody you want to plug to help contribute to your victory today?
Thanks to my sponsor, Simker.
There you go. Joni Heikkinen, Randy, brilliant race from him. We already spoken about him a lot today, but the final thing I want to say is, closing into the championship lead, there's an opportunity he could do exactly that heading into round 5 next time out from Iowa Speedway.
I mean, he definitely could, and it's one of the things, Mitchell, there's one thing that you could never fault Mitchell de Jong on, and that's his consistency and his drive generally, and most notably his motivation to constantly improve. And one of the things that those sorts of personality types can potentially falter on is that when they start having issues, they'll start getting low on themselves. I don't want to say it's necessarily a lack of motivation or maybe self-confidence, but they'll get more and more determined, and they'll almost go on tilt saying, I got to perform, and they'll just be so high edge and so high strung trying to perform that they'll push to the ultimate limit, and if they make any little mistake, it tends to just get bigger and bigger. So maybe that's something we could see from Mitchell coming on. I've seen that happen a number of times in sim racing, but see, when these guys eventually get to give us a full 10-lap fight in one of these features, it's going to be amazing.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. And Iowa Speedway too. Before we speak to Josh Fox coming up in a second, Iowa Speedway, a challenge where, well, quite different, but you can say most of the Rallycross circuits pretty much all the same.
Well, I mean, they're the same in some ways in the sense that most of them are on the infield of ovals, but they all kind of have some intricate things. You know, Phoenix, the most difficult part of Phoenix is the setup and landing of the jump. We saw that catch out several people today. There's also the really long high-speed run down to the turn one hairpin. Daytona is somewhat similar. You have the high-speed flow into the jump section, then you have to immediately get on the brakes through that tight sequence, and then you have that tight hairpin that's on dirt, really the tightest dirt hairpin we have, considering it transitions from asphalt onto dirt and then right back onto asphalt. Iowa is really known, I think, just for the tight corners and the tight sequences and really that long left-hander that follows the jump. And it's very, very difficult to make passes there. And, of course, the other big talking point is the super quick joker compared to the usual lap time. You're talking about cutting about 12 or 13 seconds off of a lap versus about 4 to 5, what we typically see.
Yeah, so something to look forward to next round. But for now, Randolph Cheneth is alongside the third-place finisher from that feature race in Josh Fox.
Yep, I'm stood by the Fusion Racing driver, number 5, Josh Fox. Josh, you and Johan Hart came from deep in this field to finish on the podium. How did you manage to avoid all that drama and all the conundrum out in front of you? A lot of things were, let's say, happening in the field, and the two of you go from pretty much the back of the field all the way up to the second and third. Have to be happy with that one.
Yeah, pretty happy. Also pretty stressful when you don't get a single qualifying lap in. You have to come from very dead last to do it. Not really the way I'd like to do it every week, but very lucky this week that it worked out. And I kind of just tried to drive my own race. I was pretty lucky. There was not too much drama right in front of me. I saw the jump hurt a couple people, and really my race was just all about managing how to get over that jump and how to land it smoothly without giving up a ton of time or putting myself in the tires. So pretty happy with the P3 considering where it started, but definitely some more work to do to get up 1 or 2 more spots.
Iowa is the track that we're going to have coming up next. What are some of the important challenges there at Iowa? What's really important when you think about approaching that track, finding speed, and setting up the car?
Yeah, it really is a challenge. I think one of the things that stands out to me is that track has probably the most things that you have to get right to put together in an entire lap to put down a good lap time. The last turn is super critical in how you get through there and get up over the jump. The jump is really strange, the way the cars fly through the air. Got to really manage your line to make sure you don't damage yourself on the landing. But other than that, being really careful. And it's a pretty cool joker too. I wish we had more jokers like that, where you can really make up a lot of time.
It's more of a wormhole than a joker, the way it shortcuts the universe there, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is. It's really unique. It cuts probably like a third of the track out, which is pretty substantial. And I think it's a lot of fun to run there. Yeah, I think we'll put on a great show there next week.
Thanks for joining us, Josh, and congratulations on the podium. This is going to help you leapfrog well up the championship standings for sure. Before we let you go, who gets it done for that 5 car?
Yeah, I appreciate that. Got to thank everyone at Fusion Racing, Joe Naughton. I really got to thank Stellion. He helped me out with the setup because about 45 minutes before the race, I was committed to running the Subaru. So made a really last-second decision to jump in the Volkswagen. He helped me get up to speed with that, so I really appreciate that from him. And everybody else on the team, Connor, Garrett, Julian, JB, Andreas, everyone over there. Terry Rennert whipped up a real good paint scheme. We got some of the freshest cars on the track. So thanks to him, and thanks to you guys too for a great broadcast.
Well, thanks for joining us again, Josh, and good luck when we take to the cornfield of Iowa.
Appreciate it.
So that was Josh Fox. 2 podiums in a row here for round 3 and round 4 of the iRacing Rallycross World Championship Series. This is it for round 4 of the championship. The next round will be on the 9th of August. That's 2 weeks away until we head to Iowa Speedway, which hosts round 5 of the iRacing Rallycross World Championship Series. Coverage, of course, will begin at 1 a.m. GMT or 9 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time. That, of course, will be on RaceSpot TV, streaming live on the iRacing Esports Network. I have to say once again, thank you to all the viewers who joined us for today's brilliant broadcast here from ISM Raceway. I'm Jonathan Simon, Randolph Cheneth alongside me in the commentary booth, Cam Walsh on social media, Hugo Luis in production. Thanks, of course, to Istvan Ballo, Andreas Werner, Simon Grossman, and Nick Thiessen for all their hard work in production behind the scenes. This has been a RaceSpot TV presentation broadcasted on the iRacing Esports Network as we say so long from ISM Raceway.